count on. LEX 18 News.
Severe storms ripped through the bluegrass, tearing apart homes and businesses, causing flooding and downing trees and power lines. We're live with extensive LEX 18 Storm Tracker team coverage.
LEX 18 News at 5 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Nancy Cox.
I'm Kevin Christopher. Thanks for joining us at 5. One of the hardest hit areas in Kentucky today was Estill County. Roofs were ripped from homes. Other houses were torn apart, and that's not all.
Businesses also sustained heavy damage. LEX 18 Storm Tracker meteorologist Seth Phillips has been in Estill County all afternoon. He joins us live now with more on how severe this storm was. It's the LEX 18 Big Story at 5. Seth.
That's right, live in Irvin right now. As you can see behind me, the Wendy's has a window blown out. Not sure if it was just the wind damage itself or if part of the Pizza Hut roof over there actually did come into it. That, of course, will be assessed in the damage report afterwards. But this was one of the hardest counties hit with the line of thunderstorms that did pass through earlier today. I got a chance to walk down River Road, one of the main thoroughfares in the nearby Ravenna, to look at damage with nearby residents. I also had an opportunity to speak with the mayor, Estine Tipton, who recounts her experiences when the storms rolled through.
Well, after my front door bursted open. When it did, I was hanging on to it, and that's when everything came down the street.
Wow, a lot of wind, right?
Oh, a lot of wind, yes. Noise.
Now, I've heard reports of maybe a sighting of a tornado. Did you see anything like that?
I wasn't looking. I was pulling the door closed.
And now there is no report of a tornado, or at least no confirmed report of a tornado at this time. The National Weather Service was here earlier. They did leave a few hours ago, so they're going to make their final assessment and, of course, let us know when they know. But until then, it's just a waiting game to see if it was actually a tornado or straight-line wind damage. Now, coming up at 6, we're going to talk to a local veteran who was here during the 1961 tornado that hit the same area, and he'll tell about whether or not this storm compared to that one. Live from Estill County, the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom. Back to you.
Thank you, Seth. And we have just gotten word that a shelter has opened up for storm victims at Estill Springs Elementary School. This comes as neighborhoods have also suffered an intense amount of damage. In Irvin, many roofs were ripped off homes. A car was crushed by a plummeting pole. Evan Gorman is talking to a homeowner who grew up in one of the areas hardest hit today. Evan continues our Big Story team coverage.
Rita Woolery calls Cantrell Street in Irvin home.
It's my home place where I was raised since I was like 3 years old, and it's got a lot of damage.
She tells me the house she grew up in was heavily damaged by this morning's storm. The ceiling in the back room fell through. Water leaks down many of the walls and part of the roof blown away.
The little girl that lives back in our rental house, it broke her. She's got a broken collarbone, but that's all.
Rita and her husband also live close by, but their home only has minor damage, unlike many of her neighbors. Just across the street, 2 homes side by side, both of their roofs blown away.
You know, I had to get up here to see what was wrong.
Rita is terrified of tornadoes.
It's always been a big fear. I've always had dreams, you know, that a tornado was coming.
Yet, even in the middle of madness, her neighbors are finding humor in this humbling experience.
He kind of laughed and he said, Rita, he said, I knew you wanted to get rid of me.
Knowing in the back of their minds there could have been more devastation.
But still, it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Covering the news in Estill County, Evan Gorman, LEX 18 News.
And you're taking a look at the moments when the storm ripped through a business in Madison County. As you can see, it tore off the door. It blew debris everywhere. It happened at Asahi Bluegrass Forge in Richmond, and they sent us this surveillance video. That company makes heat-treated parts for vehicles and construction machinery.
About 30 mobile homes at the Madison County Mobile Home Park were damaged by strong winds this morning. One family in particular is thankful to be alive after holding on to anything they could as their home's roof blew off. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek continues our Storm Tracker team coverage.
That family says they held on for dear life today. Their mobile home behind me is still standing, but barely. Everything inside is a mess and destroyed, but the family says that's okay. All of that stuff can be replaced.
And I was just trying to shut the door to keep most of this wind from coming through, and there was no way I could not shut the door.
What started off as a calm morning turned into a fight to stay alive.
And the glass was coming in the window and everything was falling, and the only thing I could do is just get under the coffee table.
The storm hit this home quickly.
So I had time enough to go from the living room door to the bedroom to wake my husband up. And by the time we came back through, he got to the counter, and that was it. It threw him over in the kitchen floor.
The roof blew off this home within minutes. The only part that stayed intact was this back bedroom.
My grandson was in that bed, and he never got wet.
The family also managed to save a few photos that somehow survived the storm, but the rest of it, they're going to have to start all over again. Covering the news live in Madison County from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom, back to you.
And take a look at this. These two semis overturned, most likely because of the wind this morning. It happened on I-75, the northern split in Lexington. Neither driver was injured. Traffic was down to 1 lane for hours, though, as crews worked to clear the scene.
In Harrison County, straight-line winds destroyed 2 homes, resulting in 2 injuries. The focus is in the community of Salem, east of Cynthiana. Steve Butera is there and continues our LEX 18 Storm Tracker team coverage.
Pretty remarkable stuff that anyone who was in here at the time at what was this house managed to make it out of here alive. There were 2 people who were sleeping here. You can see the pillow right over there when the straight lines came, lifted the house more than 30 feet away, and now those 2 people are recovering from their injuries. We spoke with one of the victims just after he was released from the hospital. He didn't want to go on camera for an interview, especially after such a traumatic experience as what he went through today. He did tell us that those straight line winds blew in around 7 o'clock this morning. He and his girlfriend were sleeping at the time when those winds lifted the house off the foundation, brought it 30 feet before tumbling and ultimately collapsing. Both of the victims were trapped in the debris, but were able to get out.
We pulled up to this property, which we knew was damaged, and I turned and looked at the property next door and seen that the whole back of that one was off, and I hadn't even realized it.
That's right, just look across the way. This house's roof was blown away from those winds. The family just left for work in the morning with the couple's 18-month-old child staying with the family at another house, so no one was in sight here at the time. And besides the damage that you are looking at right over here, according to the Emergency Management Agency here in Harrison County, there's been no other serious reports of injuries or of storm reports across the area. For now, we're covering the news in Harrison County from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
Some Lexington homeowners have a lot of cleaning up to do after strong winds tore through their neighborhoods early this morning. Connor McHugh is live in Masterson Station with a look at the damage there and in some other nearby areas. Connor.
Well, hours later, winds are still whipping through here in Masterson Station, but it is nothing like the winds that were coming through here earlier this morning. Those same winds around 4 o'clock this morning took down fences, stripped the siding off of homes, and caused much more damage to a lot of the homes around here. But a few miles away, there was even more damage caused by some of those winds at the UK Spindletop Research Facility. On that plot of land, the wind damaged 12 different barns, including this one. Those winds were so strong, they scattered debris from those buildings all around the property, causing a major cleanup this afternoon. Crews also worked on several downed power lines. The university says no humans or animals were hurt from the storms. Now back here in Masterson Station, those winds damaged a number of homes around the same time. Some homeowners described the morning chaos.
I felt like it was like an earthquake. It was like booming. It was like I could hear we had a bunk bed, so I could hear it like shaking really badly, and it was just crazy.
It felt like a tornado was coming through. Yes, it felt like a tornado was coming through.
For many of the homeowners we spoke with around here, there are 2 things on their mind. The first thing is they want to know what exactly caused this, whether it's a tornado or whether it was straight line winds. And from the National Weather Service, it sounds like it will be straight line winds. They also want to start getting a head start on fixing all the damage. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
A stretch of Leestown Road has been closed for most of the day and will stay closed until at least 10 or 11 o'clock tonight at the earliest after trees and poles were brought down by the winds. Kentucky utilities workers have been clearing branches, brush, and broken power poles, so police have blocked the road from Yarnalton to Locust Trace. Now, they had hoped to have that road open before rush hour, but that estimate has been pushed back to late tonight due to the pole replacement work and power line repairs.
High winds, heavy rain, and hail hit Franklin County hard. In the community of Peaks Mill, roofs were ripped off. And take a look at this, a tree sprawled across a mobile home. The parents there tell us 2 of their children were inside, but the limbs didn't break through the building.
But I didn't know that our little community here in Peaks Mill was going to be hit this hard. I just thank God that he was with our children and they're safe.
Some people in the area say winds reached about 70 miles per hour.
We continue to update the damage assessments to many businesses in Scott County. The National Weather Service says straight-line winds, some reaching 70 miles an hour, caused a lot of the damage there. LEX 18's Patrick Price has the latest from the scene.
The storm has passed, but now business owners here off Triport Road, this industrial park, are now having to clean up all of the mess from this morning's storms. You can see the walls of this factory completely toppled over. Thankfully, no one was injured. The building was unoccupied at the time of these storms overnight. Apparently, work inside had not yet begun, according to building owners. This building had 3 separate businesses inside, according to firefighters on the scene. And it's not the first time this building has suffered damage. Firefighters say years ago, during an ice storm, there was a collapse as well. Now, across the street, Truck Fridge, another business, had heavy damage inside of their showrooms. Apparently, a window was blown out, causing parts of the roof to blow off. Aside from the structural damage, everything else inside is salvageable.
Fortunately, we have contractors that are arriving within the next couple of hours. We'll replace the skylights with the same material that's on the roof, galvanized metal, and put plywood over the windows until we can get new windows just to try to secure the building.
Firefighters on the scene earlier this morning say Industrial Drive, another street full of businesses, had damage to buildings as well. Now, back at the scene, the building has been taped off to make sure no one else goes inside until any type of inspector gets onto the scene to see how safe this structure is. Covering the news in Scott County from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom, back to you.
Some people in Breathitt County spent much of the afternoon cleaning up after the storm hit. Winds there strong enough to flip a mobile home, bring down power lines, and blow roofs off some homes. Several houses across the county lost power, but no one was seriously injured by the storms.
And one thing to emphasize as the folks from the Weather Service are out doing their damage surveys determining whether straight line winds or a small tornado did the damage, it doesn't matter. A 70-mile-per-hour wind is going to do the same amount of damage, whether it's moving in a straight line or spinning in a circle. And a 70-mile-an-hour wind, that is a big deal. That was the strongest wind gust we could find off of anything that was measured. That's from the Fleming-Mason County Airport there, southern part of Mason County. So again, there's the strongest winds. Keeneland on our WeatherBug network had a wind speed to 55. Paris, Bourbon County Middle, 52. Now Richmond Glen Marshall Elementary saw a wind gust to around 50, and that was up on the north side of Richmond. The Kentucky Mesonet site in the eastern part of Madison County, about 7 miles east of there, had a wind speed measured at 60 miles an hour, and not necessarily the strongest wind hit that particular anemometer. So there may have been even stronger winds than that in Madison County. So, okay, we're giving you a big map here. We're going to show you the wind damage reports that have come in so far. These are the official ones, just under 100 in our viewing area, and that's that big parallelogram that you see there. So again, just an amazing number of wind damage reports. Now, as we're here at 511 on the Max Track Live Doppler, there is one more line of showers. Could be a quick rumble of thunder, maybe a little pea-sized hail from a few of these. Southern Pulaski County through Laurel County, that continues on through Jackson, Owsley, over into Breathitt County. And this is the actual cold front that is tracking its way eastward. Our future track, well, it's going to be a pretty quiet night tonight. Temperatures, they are on the way down, already in the upper 40s in northern Kentucky compared to the mid-60s southeast. Lexington, the colder air is arriving with the wind. We're near 60. Oh, we have some big changes coming. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes.
And for those of you who heard the sirens here in Lexington this morning about 10 o'clock, they were accidentally set off. Emergency management sent out a tweet saying they were doing some maintenance on the siren system when it was inadvertently set off. There was no actual emergency. I bet some people were a little panicked then.
Certainly were.
Our Storm Tracker team coverage continues in our next half hour.
We'll have more about the damage in Harrison and Rowan counties. Plus, we'll give you a look at severe flooding in some areas.
March 1st, beginning of meteorological spring. It's also essentially the 5th anniversary of the Leap Day tornadoes from 2012, a winter that was very similar to the one that we have just gone through. That said, we had a lot of wind damage reports, and yesterday, if you recall, our Storm Tracker Threat Index, for the first time we moved it to a 2. What does that mean? Why did we do that? Basically, as we are looking at how to kind of quantify our severe weather threats to make it a little more easy to understand. When we're at the 2, what that means is the severe weather threats, they're going to be more widespread, not just a little pop-up here and there, and also more significant, not a branch down here and there. But again, you've been seeing the pictures from all over the area of just how much wind damage occurred, and significant wind damage. With that also, a lot of times in some severe weather situations, we'll get these little spin-up tornadoes that last 10, 15 seconds. Again, there you go out and do the damage surveys on that. When we're at the level 2, usually the threat is going to be a little bit greater for more than just a quick spin-up. They saw some of those in southern Indiana with the storm up in Du Bois County. Also significant flooding. We had some of that especially across the northern counties as we went through last night and this morning. So that's why we have the level 2. That's what it all means. Max Track Live Doppler here, 5:15. We have a little line of showers. A little rumble of thunder cannot be ruled out with that. A few folks could see some pea-sized hail as the colder air begins to take hold. You see it running from Jackson and Boonville back south of McKee over into Laurel County. In fact, from Laurel County, here's our Kentucky One Health weather bug camera live from St. Joseph in London. Clouds have moved in over the last 20 minutes. We got a little rain on the lens there. So again, that's what you're seeing there in Laurel County. And it did turn windy as well. These are the current wind gusts, not from the thunderstorms of last night and this morning. Northern Kentucky still over 40 miles an hour. Wind gusts 30 to 40 through most of central Kentucky, including that 36 out at the Bluegrass Airport. Do you have it? You need it. The Storm Tracker weather app. It's an absolutely free download. It has the Max Track Doppler. More importantly, though, especially in situations like last night where the storms are in the middle of the night, watches and warnings all come into your smartphone. Again, just search for the Storm Tracker app. Tomorrow, it's a normal day for us, but boy, is it going to feel chilly. Friday, you're looking at a couple of snowflakes possible, and maybe more than a couple. How about that for a big change? By the weekend, though, we start the next warm-up again. So here's the setup. We're going to take you to 7 o'clock here. You see that big arcing right there? This is a big cold pool of loft. What that's doing now, it's driving the thunderstorms 7 a.m. We already had the initial storms come through. This was the final band that finally did some of the wind damage in southeast Kentucky. You notice how it arced out like that? That was a bow echo. It was at the leading edge of all that where we saw a lot of wind damage occur. By 5:15 now, all the severe weather is well to our southeast and going away. So there goes the cold front. Get rid of it. Strong northwest flow continues through the night, pumping in cold air. We got a quick little clipper coming at us tomorrow. As it moves in tomorrow night, early Friday morning, looky there, we could put down some snow showers. Don't expect it to amount to anything at this point. But how about talking about that after being up in the 70-degree range? Thing is, this cold shot's going to be quick. We're already assembling the next warm-up out here to the west. Temperatures close to 70 today, will be around 40 on Friday. But again, you see the next warm-up already in the pipeline. At the moment, temperatures 60 south, 40s north, and at the Bluegrass Airport, we sit at 58. Partly to mostly cloudy. It's going to be a cold night. Low 30s your day tomorrow. Sunshine early. You can't rule out some clouds later in the day. The threat index is at 0. Upper 40s tomorrow, just near 40 on Friday, and some early morning snow showers. By Saturday, after a cold start to the day, we're up around 50. 60s on Sunday. Thunderstorms early next week. And more LEX 18 news after this.
We weren't the only ones today. The powerful and deadly storm system continues to move east after ravaging much of the Midwest.
Dozens of tornadoes have been spawned by this system, and more may be on the way. Here's the latest from NBC's Chris Clackham.
Strong straight-line winds tore through Middle Tennessee Wednesday, toppling trees, utility poles, and other structures near Nashville in a line of storms that still stretch from the deep south into the Midwest.
Yeah, it was the scariest experience that I've ever been through. Never want to do it again.
The system moves into the southeast after lighting up the night sky, knocking out power, and raking several states with nearly 24 tornadoes Tuesday.
Look at that!
Hundreds of homes were leveled, hitting the Illinois towns of Ottawa and Naples the hardest.
To see the streets the way they looked this morning versus the way they looked yesterday morning, yeah, it's emotion.
Illinois' governor surveyed the damage himself Wednesday, comforting victims, some of whom lost everything.
The Naplate's been devastated. So many homes completely lost.
This is just heartbreaking.
Also devastated part of Perry County, Missouri, where one of 22 twisters touched down.
Truck started shaking. I ran to the door. Couldn't get the door open. The wind was blowing too hard.
And so, like the month of March, to blow in like a lion, but hopefully leave like a lamb. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
It was a shove caught on camera.
Now a lot of people are upset after seeing an officer shoving an elderly woman during a protest. More about how that happened and that video is coming up at 5:30 when LEX 18 covers your world. Up next, though, an officer-involved shooting is under investigation in Louisville. An officer-involved shooting in Louisville is under investigation.
Police say officers responded to Magazine Street just before noon. At some point during the run, an officer shot a man who was taken to a hospital for treatment. His condition is unknown right now, and no other information has been made available. 3 men have been convicted of killing a Louisville toddler. Nariah Miller was gunned down while her mother held her in her arms in 2014. A jury has convicted William McLemore, DeMarcus Tramber, and DeJuan Mason Jr. in the death of the 16-month-old girl. 2 other men arrested in the case had previously taken plea deals in exchange for their testimony. The death of an inmate is under investigation in Harlan County. Officials say on February 24th, 26-year-old Sheena Coker was found unconscious in her cell. She was taken to the hospital and died an hour later. Officials say she died of health-related issues. LEX 18 continues to track destruction left behind in the wake of early morning storms.
From roofs ripped from buildings to high water rescues, complete storm tracker team coverage continues right after the break.